another episode of Everything Horror. I'm your host, Ebony Chainsaw, and today, I wanted to talk to you about Woman of the Hour. So, Woman of the Hour is a Netflix movie that we're going to discuss, but before I do that, I want to ask you to please like, share, and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you about this Netflix movie, Woman of the Hour. It wasn't that long of a movie. It is loosely based on a true story. And basically, I wanted to discuss the movie. It wasn't really scary per se, not to me anyway, but just the thought of what happened. It is scary. So I want to share that with you. So basically, the movie Woman of the Hour is about this woman who, she's trying to make it in Hollywood. She's living in the city, trying to get whatever gig she can get. She has a roommate. She's living in this building that's shared with other people. The typical situation that people usually have when they're trying to make it big in Hollywood. They have to have their roommates and stuff, and you have to be, save your little duckies so you can survive in the city until you hit it big. So her publicist, her manager, asked her, hey, look, because she's having a challenge of getting gigs. And basically, let's be honest, as a woman, a lot of people have challenges, making it in Hollywood, especially if you have boundaries, you have morals. I'm not saying everybody in Hollywood is bad. No, not at all. But if you're willing to do just about anything to make it in Hollywood, you're probably going to get there quicker than somebody that has, boundaries, expectations, morals. And, I guess that's pretty much what she was dealing with. So her manager told her, hey, look, something? Since you're having a bit of a challenge of getting something solid, I suggest you go on one of these dating shows. It's a good opportunity for you to get exposure and everything. So she was thinking, okay, I guess, people will be able to see me. And at that time, I think it was like back in the 70s. And so people were going on the dating game and it was really popular and everything. So she decided. So basically she goes on the show as her manager has told her. And what they're showing you in this movie is prior to all of this, what this serial killer has done prior to actually meeting her. And one of the scenes that I found that was just like, wow, is he gets this girl in isolations. They're out in the mountains or woods and they have a conversation. And in the conversation, it goes left and something tells her, this guy is crazy. So when she tries to get away, he strangles her. She stops breathing. Then this fool has the audacity to give her CPR and bring her back to life. So when she's back to life, then he kills her again. Now that's some sadistic stuff right there. I mean, man, you kill someone, then bring them back to life only to give them a few moments to know that they're going to die again. That's horrible. And so that just lets you know how awful this guy was. So you kind of got an idea as to what type of person she's dealing with. And she ends up picking him on this show. So they go out on a date because he ends up asking her on the date. And prior to this, I guess what they won was some kind of vacation to go to Tahoe. Because this, is all based in California. So he asked her, hey, before we go out on the thing, go on our trip to Tahoe, why don't you have a drink with me? So she goes, sits down with the guy, and, after a few drinks and conversations and stuff, she already knows that she's not going to meet with this guy again. But, she didn't really want to let that off. So she decides to leave, and then she decides to leave. He's like, okay, I'll walk you to the car and everything. And all of a sudden, she just started getting creep vibes from him. And so he asked her, hey, what's that phone number you gave me? I forgot. Can you tell me what that number was? And just to make sure that that it was written down right. And she's like, and he's like, you weren't really giving me the right number, were you? And she's like, no, you weren't planning on meeting with me, were you? No. So now he knows that she just totally just played him. He feels kind of played. So she's like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and go to my car. It's okay. I'll talk to you later. So she starts walking to her car, and oh my goodness, it is intense, because as she's walking to her car, she can hear his footsteps right behind her, picking up to her pace. So she's like, and as she's walking, he's like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's about to catch this woman. And she makes it to her car, and he's right up on her. And she's like, get away from me. Get away from me. And all of a sudden, these guys bust through this door or something, and they start laughing. It's a whole group of people. So then she's like, get away from my car. And he leaves. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that right there, if them people hadn't came out, she would have been a goner too. And you know something? She must have had some sister in her or some, because let me tell you how black folks was. She did exactly what one of us would have did. When she got back to her apartment, she packed up all her stuff, because she was like, no, ma'am. No, I don't think so. No, we not doing this. She packed up all her stuff, threw it on a moving truck, and bounced. She did exactly what I would have done. And what ended up happening is his last victim, he just totally spazzed out, and he beat the junk out of this woman. And this woman pretended. She was so smart too. She was really smart. After he done mollywopped, monkey stomped her out of her freaking mind, she just laid there. And when he came to, she looked over at that man and said, now this is his last victim now. Your girl said, you know something? I'm not mad at you at all. In my opinion, we need to just keep this between me and you. We don't need to tell nobody, because if we tell somebody, then, it could be really bad for you, and people just wouldn't understand. And he's like, really? Okay. And then he helps her get back to the car, drives her back onto the road, and then he decides, I need to go to the bathroom. So he goes to the gas station. So basically, once he inside the restroom, your girl is like, oh, he gone. She opened up that car, and she just get on up out of there, go into the diner. Hey, y'all, this man, she done told everything. By the time he get out the restroom, the po-po waiting for his behind, and it's a wrap, okay? So I'm just telling you, women, go with your intuition, whatever it's telling you. And if you find yourself in a situation where you feel you cannot get out of, try your best to, to try to make it seem like you're empathizing with the criminal, with the assailant, because maybe they might have maybe they'll have some form of mercy on you. But like most people say, if you can, just try to fight your way out of it. Fight, fight, fight to the end. Don't never let nobody, if you can, do not ever let anybody isolate you. Because once they isolate you, 9 times out of 10, you ain't making it out of it. So if you find yourself in a dire situation, try your best to fight your way out. Because once they isolate you, it's over. So basically, I done told you the movie, what happened. Take from it whatever you can. You know, everybody be safe. You know, listen to what your inner self is telling you. Most of the time, it won't lead you wrong, you know. Well, that's all I can say about this movie. If you ask me whether it gets a thumbs up or if it gets a scream, I would say this movie gets a... Yes, because I enjoyed the movie. It made me think. You know, I think it's something that a lot of young girls should watch because it's very, very informative. You know, this was based on a true story, so that's the scary thing about it. And it can happen to any of us at any time. So please keep your head on the swivel, stay safe, and thank you so much for listening to this movie review of Woman of the Hour. This is your host, Ebony Chainsaw, and I'm out. Peace. Hi, ghoulies! Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Everything Horror. This is your host, Ebony Chainsaw. And if you can please do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I wanted to talk to you today about our dear, dear, dear Tony Todd. We lost him recently. It was a great, great loss for the horror movie community, and I just wanted to take the time out to thank him for all of his great horror movies that he created for us and was able to share with us before he passed on. My favorite movie, of course, was one of them was Night of the Living Dead. The remake he did was exceptionally good. I don't think nobody else would have been able to play that based on the original as well as he did. Kudos to him for that. I also enjoyed him in the Candyman series. Oh man, he was great. I remember I was a teenager when I first seen that movie, and I remember when he opened up that coat jacket and all those bees just flew out. It gave me the heebie-jeebies. I was like, oh my gosh. And he did it so well. And also, I enjoyed him in the Final Destination movies. I think he was in 1, 2, and 4. Or maybe it was 1, 2, and 5. And I can tell you, whenever he came out on that screen on the Final Destination movies, you knew something bad was going to happen. It was like, because his character was the devil in that, and you knew it was like, man, ain't nobody gonna make it. They all gone. Oh man, because he would come on that screen, you would hear his voice and his stature. I mean, he was built. So when he walked up on that screen, you knew that it was going down. And I used to enjoy hearing his voice because it reminded me a lot of Vincent Price in Vincent Price movies. He had that voice that just really drew you in, and you wanted to hear what he had to say, and you knew it was bad, but you still wanted to hear it. You knew that something was going to go down, and that's a gift to be able to do that on the big screen. I mean, he really, he was a blockbuster. He had some good blockbusters and things. So, and so it's just a great loss, for all of us. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your gift with us, and just say that you will definitely be greatly missed. Prayers to you and your family. And thank you for everything you've given this horror community. This is your host, Ebony Chainsaw. I'm out. Pieces.